It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship on the Daytona 200 weekend in Daytona Beach, Florida, from the World Center of Racing, as we set the stage for Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time world champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, 8 laps scheduled yesterday. We only had 6, but could you pack in any more drama than we had yesterday?
Boy, it was a drama-filled race yesterday. Both our factory Harley-Davidsons are leaving here right now with 0 points going into this next race. The Indians started from the last row. Popular victory, I think, for the Vance and Hines Harley-Davidson team. Terry Vance has won here in the 200. He's won in Supersport. And Rispoli gets that first win for him in King of the Baggers.
Let's take a look at the highlights from yesterday. Now, the race, Jason, started off as a typical race. We didn't know drama was coming like this.
Yeah, Kyle Wyman got off to a great start like he did in the challenge race earlier in the day with the 2 Vance and Hines Harleys in tow. But you can see here, Greg, you noticed it early. There was smoke coming out of that 33. He was pulling over, and with about 2 laps to go, these 2 guys were out front battling with each other. Travis Wyman started to catch them, but his bike expired on that banking as well. As you see the number 10 coasting to a stop there. And really, at this point, we didn't really know who won, and then it was James Rispoli who was determined the victor.
Tyler O'Hara came from last on the grid to 3rd, and our very own Hannah Lopa is with him right now.
Yesterday, we saw our defending champion make his way from the back of the field, starting from the back of the grid, and still manage to secure a podium. How do you plan to maximize starting from a more advantageous position in your original qualifying spot today?
Yeah, yesterday was basically made the best of the opportunity that we had, and today's a new day. We're starting on the 2nd row, so new opportunity. Looking forward to getting a clean start, running up front, and main thing is just going to try to get a clean first couple laps and run with the leaders and be there at the end.
Tyler O'Hara hoping for a win, but so is yesterday's winner, James Rispoli, who got his first ever win in the class, and he's with Roland Sands.
For a moment that'll go down in history as one of the best saves I've ever seen in my life. And yesterday's race, so fantastic and entertaining. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was wild, man. We were coming out of turn 6 there, and everybody's getting it sideways, and we're trying to grab a shift as well there, and the thing just went a little bit too far. It started bucking me pretty bad, and I just tried to literally hang on as much as possible, and it just kept getting closer and closer to the wall, and I honestly have no idea how I saved it. I think I need some oxygen after that, and I needed to recover a little bit.
You might need some toilet paper too.
When we come back, we'll take a look at our track map and our starting grid and get this race going, so don't go anywhere.
Gear up to get fueled by Mission and get ready to eat like a king. Load those saddlebags with tasty products and fuel your flavor. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
All right, the baggers are out for their sighting lap, and we are looking forward to this getting underway, wrapping up this 2023 edition of both Bike Weeks and the Daytona 200 in its 81st running. What a race we just saw there, and we expect nothing less than absolute excitement in a sprint format coming up for our Mission King of the Baggers. Let's get it back over to Greg White and Jason Pridmore.
Mission King of the Baggers is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. By Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by Geico Motorcycle, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance.
Welcome back to Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2. Let's take a look at Daytona International Speedway, JP, because it is fun on the high banks.
Yeah, it's fast on these baggers too, Greg. We're seeing some real high speeds out of them. Start from pit lane down into that ever important turn 1, down you get that run into the International Horseshoe. Fast kink into the next horseshoe here at Daytona. The run though, Greg, from turn 6 down to the chicane is where you'll see all the drafting on these bikes poking a big hole in the wind. Could be 4 or 5 of these guys getting close to each other, down through the chicane, and then the run back to the checkered flag.
Let's take a look at the starting grid for this race. Jason, we know that this morning Kyle Wyman went a lot faster than his record-setting pole time of a 52.9, but he's on the front row with Hayden Gillum and James Rispoli.
He went 2.5 seconds quicker, and everybody else was still doing 52s, Greg. So yeah, with you got Gillum, Rispoli, O'Hara, and then back to row 3, Mazziata, Corey West, Flinders, Lewis, Owensberg, and Danny Eslick. A little further back, Robert Johnson, Garcia, Patricia Fernandez, Bobby Fong, and Shane Narbonne.
8 laps scheduled for this one. And if you were looking at the times from this morning with what Kyle Wyman was able to do, that 150 flat, I mean, full-blown super sport times on a bagger.
Jake Lewis has got problems.
So Jake Lewis, who was actually very quick this morning as well.
He did. They found something in that Saddleman bike as well, but all eyes going to be on this 33 to see if he can get that start. And the factory Indians just back there in row 2 like they were supposed to be yesterday.
Waiting for those red lights to go on.
They're waiting for Jake Lewis to get into place.
Okay, Jake Lewis is ready. We're set. Lights off. We're going. Mission King of the Baggers, race number 2 at Daytona. Kyle Wyman on the 33 gets a good launch. He's up the inside. Rispoli trying to go around the outside.
Factory Indians look like they slotted into 3rd and 4th, didn't they, Greg? So yeah, the Factory Indians, big wobble out of one of them, trying to figure out if that was McWilliams or Tyler O'Hara.
Ooh, getting sideways, super deep. That might have been Tyler O'Hara. Yeah, the number 1 plate is in 3rd spot, so that's Tyler, the Californian on the Indian Motorcycle Progressive Mission Foods bike.
Travis Wyman's already got an issue, Greg. I'm not sure. That looks like it's, he's trying to adjust the clutch. So he's obviously got a problem with that clutch. So it's been a disaster weekend for the number 10. Yesterday we saw his motor expire on the banking, and boy, but look at this guy. Both Kyle Wyman and Rispoli on these baggers in the challenge race and in race 1, they just get out and go on this opening lap, and they've pulled a gap over 3rd and 4th.
James Rispoli on that Vance and Hines Mission Harley-Davidson, trying to keep a draft of that factory bike. That's the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle Road Glide of Kyle Wyman, your champion from 2 years ago. Rispoli getting a little sideways, heading into the chicane for the first time. There's McWilliams, 99. He won a race 2 here last year. And then Rispoli's teammate,
Hayden Gillum, got off the bike after 200 miles, Greg. So he just did the Daytona 200, and he had to go change his suit, get ready to go for sponsors and things like that, get back in his Vance and Hines leathers. But Kyle Wyman doing what he did yesterday. Checking out on the first lap. So Kyle Wyman pushing his own air, coming across the stripe at 176 miles an hour. Tyler O'Hara, 181, trying to chase down Rispoli. Tyler's in deep, and he is going to go all. Wow. Ooh. I mean, I don't know if you can appreciate how good that is to get that bike stopped. Sorry. But that is a big mistake from Tyler O'Hara, and that's going to be a result of that draft. 100%. Bobby Fong also on the number 50 machine on that Sacramento Mile SDI Racing Roland Sands Challenger. He gets sucked into turn 1 as well. And right now, what the effort to get that stopped. Oh, look at the bike skills to get that slowed down the way it did. And as a rider, you're thinking, do I jump? Do I stay on? Do I jump? Do I stay on? And I mean, the amount of weight that he had to slow down right there to get that bike under control. Amazing job by Tyler O'Hara. Well over 600 pounds. Wow. Incredible job by Tyler, the number 1 plate. Now, keep in mind, this is the second race of 14 for MotoAmerica's Mission King of the Baggers. So this is points paying round. So if Tyler O'Hara can work his way back into more points, he's going to look at it. But for Kyle Wyman, who scored 0 yesterday after winning the challenge race and winning $5,000, he's got his way. Let's get down to the third member of our broadcast team, Hannah Lopa. What's up, Hannah?
Checking in with the team. They were here as late as they were allowed to be last night, doing engine swaps for both bikes. A little bit of an older engine, but same spec, and after Kyle got to go out and get some laps on it this morning, he originally wasn't sure how much different it was going to be, and he said, hey, back to plan A. Yeah, how much different after dropping 2.5 seconds? Yeah, I mean, unreal. And he said the bike was more rideable. There was a couple things it sounds like they did. And here you go, the two Vance and Hines
Harleys are locked into that battle now. Hayden Gillum and James Rispoli come across the line. 50.8 for Kyle Wyman. And how about a 51.1 for Hayden Gillum? So, and he gets into turn one a little bit deep. He's going to allow Rispoli to sneak back up underneath him there. But Hayden Gillum, 51.1, that's a couple seconds quicker, or right around a couple seconds quicker than I think he was going in the race yesterday. So, also, you know, Greg, again, it's that draft, isn't it, up on the bank? But Kyle Wyman has set sail. 50.8, a little bit warmer than it was this morning. I think track conditions this morning were absolutely perfect with a little bit cooler air temperature. But he's been able to come out and duplicate that again right now.
Just think, though, Jason, if anybody was able to run with Kyle Wyman and he had a draft, even a 2-bike draft,
yeah,
I mean, he's in the 49s.
Yeah, I mean, the development on these bikes that they have put in are incredible. And you know, when you look at the factory Harley team, the Vance and Hines Harley team, and of course Indian, they just continue to advance these bikes, and the speeds they're going. 176 mile an hour that time through for Kyle Wyman, pushing his own air. 180 mile an hour for Jeremy McWilliams back there in fourth on the Indian.
Yeah, there's no question at the speed of these Indian motorcycles. And Jay, you know, as we look at the two Harley-Davidsons out front, it's been asked at times, people have been curious about the displacement and how you can have two different displacement motorcycles. You have the 131 versus the 119, say, of the Indian motorcycle, and why is that a thing? Well, the reason it's a thing is mostly because of the architecture of the motorcycles, the engines, the way they're designed. You know, the Indian motorcycle has more modern design, dual overhead cam technology. They are liquid cooled versus these air cooled machines. And so that's part of the balancing. Yeah, there's more displacement in the Harley-Davidson than the Indian motorcycle, but it comes down to the way the architecture and the way that the motorcycles are designed, the way they make power.
Oh, Hayden's out wide again.
Yeah, he's way wide.
Does he have a problem, or? You know, they kind of ran into some of that yesterday, didn't he, where we saw him running wide in a few places. That's going to allow Jeremy McWilliams back into that mix for third, and Hayden's in deep again. So not really sure what's going on with Gillum at the moment.
Brake issues possibly?
Yeah, I mean, you would think that that's what it is, and I think, but do you think some of it could be, Greg, too, that he just got off a completely different motorcycle, maybe some different braking points and things like that?
It has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a motorcycle that is a couple 100 pounds lighter than on his super sport machine that he just ran the Daytona 200, and he's trying to figure it out. Hannah, what do you think?
Gremlins aside, I talked to Hayden Gillum on the grid, and he wasn't even really sweating. I think, you know, that 15-minute red flag scenario during the 200 definitely didn't hurt, gave him an opportunity to rest, but he wasn't even tired. He looked completely fine. He said he felt great and ready to go.
Yeah, and physically, Daytona isn't the most demanding track on the circuit, Jay. I mean, you remember in the 200, you had Miguel Duhamel, who could barely walk. His team had to lift him onto a bike, and he won a Daytona 200. Not taking anything away from that. That was miraculous what happened. But there are certain tracks that we go to that I can think of, Barber Motorsports Park being one of them. And
even Atlanta, where we're opening up our MotoAmerica season, and we go there, and every year people are talking about arm pump. And at this place right now, and you can see Jake Lewis making a pass on, I believe that's Hawk Mazzato. Or Mazzato, sorry, Mazzada. Running back there in seventh. So Hawk putting in a really nice ride as well right now.
And Hawk's been around series road racing for quite a while over the years. But so impressive what Kyle Wyman's able to do right now. Fastest lap of the race coming in lap 2 when he was really trying to shatter the rest of the field. A 150.864. You saw there in qualifying, he did a 152.9. So incredible to be pushing your own air. Generally in qualifying, you want to get out there, find somebody here at Daytona to draft on and off of, and that quite helps your speed and helps your time. So right now with a 4.8 second lead over James Rispoli. There's 1 second behind them, back to Jeremy McWilliams. The battle for second heating up.
And talking to Kyle this morning, when I saw those times, I thought, well, wow, this is, you know, let's go out and get those 25 points. I said something in that effect to him, and then it was more like, let's just get some points, because he's struggled here for the last couple of years to really get the results that, you know, that he feels like he should have got. And for that factory Harley team, it's been a rough week, and we've already seen Travis go out this race. So Kyle now has just got to kind of, what is he, almost 5 seconds, like you say, Greg, 4.8 second lead. He's cruising around doing 51s now. So they must have found something in this motor, or if maybe it's a different type of build. I'm not sure what exactly it is, but he loved it this morning when he rode on it.
Yeah, because it's not like he had a full race distance of laps yesterday to sort things out with suspension, but maybe this morning without the, without the wind, because we showed up this morning session, the sun was shining, it was already nice and warm, and there was no wind.
It looked to me like McWilliams looked like he was slowing down a little bit more into the chicane, almost like as if he was to have a problem, because Hayden Gillum has opened up that gap, and if you look at the last lap by, 52.5 for McWilliams, 54.0 for Hayden. We saw him run wide twice, so we can explain that. But this lap here looks a little bit slower for Jeremy, and I'm not sure exactly what might be going on. 3 laps to go as they come across the stripe now. Hayden Gillum is about 3 seconds or 2.5 seconds or so behind his teammate James Rispoli. Here's James rolling down into turn number 1.
So Rispoli coming off of yesterday's win without the unbelievable Kyle Wyman right now.
Hayden again out wide, and I didn't see Jeremy McWilliams that time, so let's keep an eye out, Greg. 56.8 that time for the other factory Indian, Jeremy McWilliams. Give you an update. Tyler Hara also is going backwards on our screen, so man, I'll tell you, the winning side so far this weekend, Greg, without question, is this Vance and Hines Harley team.
Yeah, the nod definitely going to Harley-Davidson and the Vance and Hines team. Is now at least for the 79 of Hayden Gillum. Doesn't have to push as hard going into the corners because, I don't know if it's a downshifting situation, a brake situation. Yeah. There's just been something going on, and I actually think the bike's fine. I think, Jason, what you brought up earlier makes more sense to me, that it's taking his brain a moment, and why wouldn't it, to get used to the speed and the weight. So if he was on a super sport bike just moments ago in the Daytona 200, going to the same brake marker, but now he's got to get a 600+ pound motorcycle slowed down, that might affect your ability to get the bike into the corner.
And Greg, I would agree with you if I only saw it once or twice, but we've seen it probably 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah.
And this guy's ridden so many different motorcycles, and he's so well-rounded, and he's such a great professional as far as bike skills and handling skills. I don't see him making that many mistakes, so maybe there could be a problem. I'm not exactly sure. Have to find out from him here shortly. Now, Jeremy McWilliams has fallen way back, so I'm not sure what has happened to him, but he's not even in the screen anymore, is he?
Yeah, but he's going to fall into the clutches of Corey West on the Harley-Davidson. So if McWilliams can't hold on to this pace with the amount of time we have remaining, 2 laps to go, there's a possibility we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all Harley-Davidsons. Wow. In this Mission King of the Baggers race number 2. But looking at Hayden Gillum, his future so bright. On the other side of things, on the Superbike side of things, again.
So yeah, he's got a problem. There's something going on there for Hayden that we're not quite sure what it was. I did look out the window. I saw Corey West go past Jeremy McWilliams. So this is going to be Corey West, who's had himself a day for that Saddleman Racing team here on the 13. I know it's a number close to you, G-Dub.
Mm-hmm.
I know you like that 13, and Jeremy McWilliams obviously suffering with something, trying to get this thing home and collect as many points as he can.
Yeah, you can kind of tell from the body posture of McWilliams. He's not looking that comfortable, his hand out. So where he is on the racetrack, explain who he's pointing to, Jay.
That's just going to be, he's going past his pit board right now, G-Dub, and he's explaining, or trying to explain, yeah, I've got a problem with it. And it is the exact same for O'Hara, looking at his top speeds, both their top speeds, Greg. If you look at it, only 163 for McWilliams, 155 for Tyler O'Hara that time through. So there's something going on there. The Indians are just slowing down just a little bit. And this guy has got about a lap and a quarter to go. And this is a big deal for him as far as points go.
Yeah, it's a big rebound.
Making those points up, right?
Big rebound after 0 yesterday, 25 today, especially with Tyler O'Hara having problems. Now, if O'Hara can bring it home, currently he's in 12th spot, and that is 4 valuable points for Jeremy McWilliams, who slips back to 5th currently. He's got 5 seconds to Jake Lewis. He's got to hold on. There's the 99. Jay, when he was pointing to that part, it's either one of 2 things that I look at. It's either the clutch, because he's pointing down at that lever, or the brake adjuster. So I think it's one of those. I would probably, if you're saying top speed's down, I'm almost thinking it might be the clutch.
I couldn't agree with you more, Greg, because that clutch gets going, and it's exactly what it looks like. And both bikes are having that same problem as Kyle gets into that International Horseshoe for his final time, 7.1 seconds up, 52.2 that last time by. So he's just got to get this thing and cruise it home now, if there's such a thing. He just wants to be able to try to get this bike. And McWilliams has gone all the way back to 7th now, as both Corey West and Hawk Mazada has gone through. Hawk Mazada just runs his fastest lap of the race in 6th place, 55 flat. But Greg, look at how much more nimble and almost skinny this bike looks compared to when we saw these bikes become part of our series 3 years ago.
It is a noticeable difference, especially when you're standing in front of it.
And look how they handle. They just look like they handle so much better.
Especially coming up onto the banking.
Yeah.
I mean, they just look, there's so much more stability under acceleration that Kyle Wyman has on his Harley-Davidson Road Glide. It's impressive. Coming down the back straightaway. One last time into the chicane for Kyle Wyman.
I mean, he's coming through the chicane and wheeling the thing on the exit. So, you know, you can imagine how much torque this bike has. And as he comes out of here and changes direction, things just wheeling out. And I mean, it looks like a sport bike almost. And the lap times he's doing, if we were to run a stock 1,000 race or something like that here, there'd be some broken hearts on some Japanese bikes, I think, as well.
The orange and black for the final time on the straightaway as Kyle Wyman heads towards the checkered flag. Here he comes. So Kyle Wyman, in redemption from yesterday's race, is able to take that checkered flag and win the race. So Kyle Wyman, a 150.864, fastest lap of the race on lap number 2. 8 seconds victory over James Rispoli. So a 1-2 for Rispoli. And I mean, I'm no math genius, but I'm going to guess and say Rispoli's probably the top of the leaderboard right now in terms of this championship.
No question. Corey West ends up 4th. He's had a really good day today, Greg, and obviously winning in the the Hooligans race earlier. We're going to have Jake Lewis get the top 5.
So Harley-Davidson goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hawk Mazada, the first Indian to come across the line. Kyle Ohnsorg, who's a test rider for Indian, 7th place. McWilliams drifting all the way to 8th. Max Flinders. So in 6th through 9th, you have Indian, and then Danny Eslick comes across 10th. So great job by Kyle Wyman. Redemption. When we come back, we'll hear how his race went in a moment.
MotoAmerica on MotoAmerica Live Plus is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. And by Geico Motorcycle, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance.
The last race of this wonderful weekend here, all part of the Daytona 200 and Bike Week here at Daytona International Raceway, the World Center of Racing. And the win that Kyle Wyman certainly earned, Roger, from the very first drop of a green flag in this category, the Mission King of the Baggers, finally coming through for him. He looked so good in every session. Then had the problem in the race after having just driven away from everybody, and today he finally put the exclamation point on it.
Yeah, he rode a great race. I mean, he's been setting the pace all weekend on the King of the Bagger, and it's got to feel good after having those issues yesterday, come out here and win in dominant fashion. And what a week for the Harleys and King of the Bagger, and winning a Super Hooligan this morning as well.
Yep.
So it's great to see Kyle get that. He puts a lot into this. He works hard, even when he put his own program together, so it's pretty cool to see him get rewarded.
Well, and he just rides so hard and so well, and he just has that speed on demand, it seems. James Rispoli, a win, his first ever yesterday, and a second today. 2 podiums at Daytona in your first win. Even though this one he was back a bit in terms of time, still a great weekend for James.
Yeah, great ride by him. I mean, consistency is what wins championships, so just being on the podium every weekend is great for him. And Hayden Gillum on the podium again. And what about the Saddleman Harley guys, 4th and 5th, Corey West and Jake Lewis? That's a great result for those guys after struggling the first day.
Yeah, an impressive run for Jake Lewis after starting last on the grid. Let's get back to Greg White and Jason Pridmore.
Mission King of the Baggers is brought to you by Mission Foods, the world's leading brand for tortillas and wraps. By Drag Specialties, an industry-leading distributor of aftermarket parts and accessories for Harley-Davidson and custom V-twin motorcycles. By Geico Motorcycle, where 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Welcome back to Daytona Beach, Florida, where these birds, I'm sure, have enjoyed a great day of racing at the World Center of Racing, where Kyle Wyman just won by 8 seconds in the Mission King of the Baggers race number 2. Let's take a look at those results. So it's 8 seconds over James Rispoli and Hayden Gillum, another pair on the podium for Vance and Hines. Corey West able to work his way to 4th. Jake Lewis got around Jeremy McWilliams. Hawk Mazada in 6th. And on down the list, and a great race for Kyle Wyman without question. 11 seconds back to Hayden Gillum as we start the season. But let's get right down to victory lane with Hannah, who has our winner.
After yesterday, I'm certain that the Harley-Davidson team is feeling some redemption, and certainly for Kyle Wyman. Kyle, quite the margin of victory for you. Were you trying to make a point?
Certainly. The point is that Harley-Davidson runs Daytona. And, man, 3 Harleys on the podium. We're so excited to finally get this thing all working the way we know it can, and I think it showed the strength of this Harley-Davidson Road Glide. I want to thank the whole team, Screaming Eagle, Mission Foods are coming on as a sponsor of the class and our team, as well as Owens USA and the whole team, Jason, Bjorn, Dave, Scott, the whole crew. You guys are amazing. And yeah, it's nice to end the weekend like this. It feels like a good weekend when you end it like this. So we'll take this to Atlanta. I got to think the points are in a pretty good spot for us, the way it's shaped up. So let's go. Woo!
Congratulations. Race 2 for Mission King of the Baggers winner, Kyle Wyman.
Not bad for Kyle. 2 out of 3 race wins on the weekend. We'll have more from Daytona International Speedway when we return.
Well, you heard that energy from Kyle Wyman, and that gets back, I think, to exactly what we were talking about, that he'd been so fast throughout and then got it taken away by that mechanical issue yesterday, and it finally comes good. And, these guys that run in the baggers, they bleed Harley or they bleed Indian, and you could hear the enthusiasm for Kyle running a Harley and how strong Harley has been in both this category and in the Super Hooligans this weekend. So loving that moment for sure.
Oh yeah, the Harley and Indian rivalry is alive again, especially here in the King of the Baggers. So it's awesome to see. And Harley had a good week. Indian won the championship last year, and you can tell Harley came back pretty strong. So we'll see when we move on to some other tracks. That the Indian guys, I'm sure, will step up a little bit. But for Kyle, I mean, it has to feel good to end the weekend after struggling and being let down yesterday. You could see just how good it felt.
And you look at this guy here, Hayden Gillum. That smile. I think some of the the adrenaline came back to help him through that race we just had. But I think he's starting to mellow just a little bit out there after some really, really intense racing in that Daytona 200, trying to fight back, stay in it, and then come out and run these baggers. And as the guys, Greg and Jason were talking about, these baggers are a lot heavier, a lot different bike to ride than those. So good day for him.
Welcome back to Daytona Beach, Florida, where Mission King of the Baggers race number 2 is done and dusted. So we've had 2. Let's take a look at the points. It is James Rispoli who's leading the way with 45. Hayden Gillum 9 points back. Corey West in the mix too. So Kyle Wyman only 20 points back. Tyler O'Hara 24 with Jake Lewis. Well, that'll do it for us. We certainly appreciate you checking it out and hope you enjoyed the racing. For Jason Pridmore and Hannah Lopen and our entire crew, thanks for watching Mission King of the Baggers.
All right, folks, an absolutely great end to the weekend here, and we heard from Kyle Wyman, but we have 2 other podium finishers, and Hannah is there. First of all, checking in with the number 43, yesterday's winner, 2 podiums, Hannah, for James Rispoli.
Greg, it certainly is a great weekend for the current points leader, James Rispoli, leaving Daytona. Many races to go, but that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it feels amazing. I mean, like I said, the Vance and Hines guys have been working really hard. You know, once Kyle kind of broke us there, I put her in cruise control. I saw we had a gap behind, and you know, if I was in FP1, if I could come out with a 5.5 here, I'd have a good points haul. But to be the points leader is huge in our thing, and championship hunt. But the best thing is you know, it's a Harley lockout. It's the first one of the year, and let's keep it going, baby.
Congratulations, second place today, James Rispoli.
And again, talking about that Harley lockout, they're absolutely loving this moment here. And I think this guy that we're going to be hearing from shortly, we were talking about it, Hayden Gillim, having run a long race and then having to come out and wheel these monster baggers around. But he's still got a little hint of a smile there. Hannah?
Certainly quite the day for Hayden Gillim, wrapping it up with a podium finish here at Daytona. Take us through that battle with your teammate, James Rispoli.
Yeah, I wish I could say it was much of a battle, but man, after yesterday I kind of fried the clutch on her, and then same this morning, so I had to change up the way I was downshifting into the corners, so I started blipping it instead of using the clutch to save the clutch, and we made it to the end, but man, I think I ran turn 1 wide 6 of the 8 laps, so if I could have cleaned that up, I think me and him might have been able to work together a little bit like yesterday and maybe track Kyle down, but Kyle was running really good. James was running mistake-free, and yeah, I'm happy to be up here on the podium. Vance and Hines, they did a great job this weekend. I'm really happy to be back on this thing, and riding these things around this place is pretty special.
Hayden Gillim's got plenty of time to rest before the next round, guys.
He does indeed. Thank you so much, Hannah. Really appreciate that. And, she said the next round. And Roger, before we talk about that, just any final observations here about this weekend, the conclusion of bike weeks. I know you're going to be heading over and announcing some flat track racing. But any final thoughts here about anything that just stood out for you?
Well, I think just how deep all the fields are.
Yeah.
I know the classes are going to be a little bit different at the next one, but just how full the grids are, how packed this place is of fans, and just the sport growing, and it's really started the year coming out strong. So it's been a great weekend of racing, a lot of great battles, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the year.
Absolutely. It's going to be a phenomenal year, and why not take this moment then to give everybody a bit of a clue here as to what we're looking at. We're here. We're done at Daytona. Next up, April 21st to the 23rd, Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. One of my favorite places. That place is just wickedly fast. Big Consequence Racetrack. Barber Motorsports, May 19th through the 21st, moving that up a little bit earlier. America's Nürburgring, as I like to call it, Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin in June. Late June, the Ridge Motorsports